I'm Jack Wiegman. I'm a former broadcaster from Missoula. I grew up here, was on KGVO radio years ago, and I established a jazz program that ran for 10 years while I was there and another 10 or 15 after I left. Jazz has always been fascinating to me, but so has invention. I was an engineer at KGVO and elsewhere, and it is through electronics that I got interested in invention, and it is through electronics and being a father that I got interested in encouraging other people to invent. It's true that really every person invents. Most of us don't take time to take credit for it, or sometimes we just don't feel our idea is good. Take, for instance, the idea of a capsule like the one you'd toss down for medicine. But it was 30 years ago someone came up with the idea of making that toothpaste. So you would put it in your mouth, crunch it, and brush your teeth, and forget it, not have to squeeze the tube, not make the mess. But it was one of those ideas that wasn't locked up sufficiently, and as a consequence, the toothpaste companies never fooled with it because they were on a minimum profit angle, and it just wasn't worth the bother to change anything. So today you do not have toothpaste capsules. But let me tell you what I'm interested in getting people tied into today, and why I asked you to let me tell about the SSB hearing aid. Now, the SSB hearing aid will look like one of these puppies. You put it in your head and you'll hear a little bit better. No human ear is really perfect, and the older or frailer the ear gets, the less likely it is can be brought back to anything. A hearing aid is a crutch. But I have been allowed to place my hearing aid invention in the competition, this year's competition for Create the Future, at none less than NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And, you know, from my standpoint, that just knocks the old Socceroos off me. I have another invention that I hope to be able to get the attention of the NASA people. After all, they're aeronautics. My other invention that is still evolving, and I can't show you today, is a flying saucer. I guarantee you the next flying saucer you see will be mine. That's one of its magics, is that it should be very easy to fly. You do lay on your stomach, you will watch the future in front of you through a periscope, but it should be easy to drive, easier to navigate than any modern airplane, and good, bad, or indifferent, it's got to be electrical. So in any case, these, back to square one, I guess, the single sideband hearing aid uses an old technology. The first experiments with radio, the earliest ones, created a kind of radio called continuous wave, CW as it's initialed. And that was just a case of turn the transmitter on, turn it back off, turn it on and off at the right rate, and somebody could tell what you meant by listening to the pulses that you made. Then that one went a long, long way. It would reach across the Atlantic. But the next invention was a little bit more difficult. That one would carry the voice, called AM radio, or amplitude modulation. It wouldn't carry sound as far, but it carried voice. Then the third invention had the magic of the first two. It would carry a great distance, and it would carry voice. Unfortunately, if you didn't know the guy transmitting, you couldn't figure out what his voice was supposed to sound like, because it drifted the pitch all over. A voice that was sounding like this might sound like this. Now, that was called single sideband, or suppressed carrier sideband radio. And that is my invention. With modern electronics, we can multiply things, and you can take one of these hearing aids and you can add a little bit of circuitry to it that will take voices around you, bring them into the aid without interfering with the sound you're already hearing. And it will take, well, here's Grandpa wanting to talk to his granddaughter, his 3-year-old granddaughter. The odds that an elderly man will be able to understand a 3-year-old child are pretty slim. But it can take a little girl's voice and crank it down in pitch to that of Hoyt Axton or John Wayne. Right. It can really change the pitch, and yet it can do so without interfering with those voices that a person can handle. If you think about it, an elderly couple, a woman loses hearing in a way that she can't easily hear a man's voice, and a man loses his hearing so he can't easily handle a woman's voice, and maybe that's why old people have good marriages. They can't argue. In any case, I want to make sure that everybody understands that although there is a contest here, and I really, really want people to go to the contest, hopefully vote for mine. It's on the internet. Create the future. NASA, that's what your search criteria would be. But the real trick is everybody invents, everybody. And you just got to have enough chutzpah to say, I invented something, and to brag on it. In this case, my bragging on my invention, this one of 6, may mean 20,000 bucks. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Government. Well, I tell you what, invention is such a charming thing. It's immensely charming, and I don't know that a person should be proud of anything but satisfied at the end of every day that you not only did the best for yourself, but that you did the best for your peers.